This video will talk about the use of the Mamelon colors. We have wheat, we have coral, we have pumpkin. The wheat is kind of it's like a straw color. Straw, if you remember, in the colors that we had for the translucent neck colors and things like that. And then coral is kind of a peachy color, and pumpkin is kind of like a burnt orange, a little bit like clementine, but these colors tend to be a little bit more opacious than those other colors. While still translucent, they have a little bit more opacity. And they're going to be used in conjunction with the smoke and the storm. Because generally, if we're going to have these, we're also going to have some translucency and proximal things like that. So I'm going to show all these together. So the first thing we always do is we take our tooth and we're going to put on a very thin layer of the glaze paste. So we have a layer to float it on. Pardon me, a little bit of dirt there. No lab's complete without a little bit of dirt, right? So I have a thin coat of the glaze paste material. That gives me my canvas, and I know what my restoration is going to look like. Okay, in a situation where I'm going to have proximal translucency, then I would want to put that on first as a rule, because it's going to frame everything else. So I tend to use the storm because the storm is dramatic, but you have to use so little of it. We're going to float it on in very thin dimension. So generally you want your translucent window to only be about a half a millimeter beneath the incisal edge. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so once we've got it down there, if we're going to have Mamelon fingers, they look better in contrast. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a few fingers of the storm to frame it in. Get this to where it can be seen. So, generally I try to round these out so that they will frame in the Mamelons. If you're using the storm and you see some darker specks, that's where the color pigments have stuck together. It just needs to be mixed a little better. If I'm in the middle doing a crown, I just pick them out. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit of my Mamelon, and you don't have to be afraid of using these because they are very intense colors. But the nice thing is because you know what you're going to get, What I'm going to do is just pick up a little bit. This is the coral, this is the peach color. I'll just put a little bit on my thumbnail so I can pick it up easily. And I'll touch it to the surface of the tooth against one of those storm fingers, vibrate it, and pull it. Then I can take a little bit of glaze liquid, making sure my brush is clean. And with a little glaze liquid, I can float it over and get the color right where I want. Okay, we'll see how that shows up. And next I'll take some pumpkin. Pumpkin is the most chromatic of the colors, being a bright burnt orange kind of color. And I'll pick it up, I'll place it on the tooth, push it, vibrate it, and pull it down. And get the piece of lint out of there. So, you don't have to worry about these being too strong because you're going to see what they look like before they fire. So all you have to do on the tooth is to kind of pull it and fade it out if it's too intense. This will be just like the color rods that you see in your shade guides, and they're not too intense. I can get one of the wheat, which is the faintest, and again I'll apply it and I'll pull it. So here we have 3 different colors, which you would probably never do on the same tooth. But you have them applied. If you want to accentuate them, again, a little bit more. I'll get just a little bit of smoke right here. Let's see if I can get this better in focus for you. And there we go. So this is very easy to do, and the nice thing about this material again is you see what it's going to look like before you ever fire it. If it's too intense, you just take your brush and you wipe it off.